Hello, everybody. Okay, so I'm doing something I haven't done before, which is a vlog and recording my podcast at the same time. So, you may actually see the vlog on social media, or I may completely scrap the idea because I'm currently recording on my laptop and my phone, and all I can see is my face in the screen, which isn't the nicest of things, just to be talking to yourself in the mirror. Actually, I do talk to myself in the mirror quite a lot, but like that personal motivational morning speech. And I'm recording on these devices because my lovely husband to be has ruined my my microphone. So he's obviously used it for one of his podcasts and it's broken. So I'm just waiting for him to find the part which he's broken to replace, because I only got it last year or the year before that. All the years have merged into one lately, haven't they? So how the devil have you been? I haven't recorded a podcast for such a long time, and I think because life, Hattie, children. Hattie's always the main topic, isn't she? Because she's I call her Satan's love child, which actually she's so blooming cute, but she had kept me up for so many years of not sleeping, and she's full on. She's not like a child where you can get her to do some colouring. No, she'll be breaking the colouring, drawing on the walls and eating them. In fact, on Saturday she swallowed a 20p piece. I was just coming out of the shower. She was with me the whole time. She wasn't unsupervised, and I'd seen that I've got this pot of coins on my dressing table, and I'd seen that she'd got something, and I said, "You're not eating my. Don't put coins in your mouth, Hattie." And as I said that, she literally necked. I'm doing this whole kind of glug routine right now. She literally necked the money, and I screamed, went over her, smacked her back, and trying to force it out, and she'd swallowed 20p piece, and I thought, oh my god. So I forgot to tell the childminder that this morning, actually, that she might get a little tip in her nappy. But in all seriousness, if you're concerned that your child has swallowed coins, seek advice, because I did, and it was fine. And I've monitored her, just as a clause there. Don't go shoving coins down your child. Anyway, back to today's podcast, episode 4. So I wanted to come to you to start my podcast series again because I feel that is so much needed, and I just love talking. I'm a chatterbox. Those of you that have known me for a long time will know that I love talking. And I think, I should, crack on with my podcast. So I wanted to talk to you guys today about unknitting your birth beliefs. Now, this podcast is perfect if you're pregnant, of course, or if you're planning on having a baby and you see birth as traumatic, as a bit of an emergency, and if you completely poo-poo the idea that birth can be a really lovely, empowering and almost controlled experience into a certain aspect. Because when we look at birth, because I obviously teach hypnobirthing, and I teach, positive birth, and help women feel empowered and couples together to feel that they are in control to a certain element of their birth, and that they can actually prepare for it and plan for it, which you absolutely can. But I've done so many events, I've done many of the high street baby stores, and I've presented there, and I've done in-store kind of events and things. And I do have the parents that come up to me and go, that is just not for me. Birth is not like that. There's no way birth can be like that. And when you think, okay, so let's try and rewire the way that you view birth, because if you're pregnant, your friends and family have probably gone, oh, you've got to give birth, as if it's some sort of horrendous ordeal that you just have to grin and bear it, and at the end of it you're going to have this beautiful baby. But what a really sad way to view birth, that you have to go through so much trauma and like rip your body open to have this beautiful baby. But that's okay, because you've got the baby at the end of it, and as long as the baby's healthy, that's all that matters. I call bullshit on that. That shouldn't be the case, because what we should be doing is actually mothers saying that they're looking forward to giving birth. Not just the end result, is actually understanding and experiencing what their bodies can go through, but also feeling in control into a certain aspect, we know that birth can go down different routes, but you can kind of prepare for different routes as well. And I think that scaremongering is such a frightful thing for a woman who feels vulnerable as it is. Not the unknown, especially if it's your first baby, unknown, like what is going to happen, what's birth going to feel like, and also taking on other people's beliefs. And I welcome anyone who is a real skeptic about not just natural birth, because I don't teach just natural birth. I talk about epidurals and pain relief and cesareans. It's about feeling empowered through that birth. So anyone that thinks that you just lay there and they just take the baby out of you, and then you're like, oh, I've got my baby, I can put pretty bows in it and wear these funky hats, I welcome them to listen to this podcast, because what I want you to start thinking about is where that belief has come from. And is your belief factual? Like, is what you're believing a fact? Does every single birth in the whole world, is it traumatic? Is it an emergency? Is it done in a hospital? They've got every single drug going? Is that fact about your belief? Have a think about it now, because I can guarantee the answer is no. It isn't factual. Your birth mindset of a negative birth, let's call it that, a negative birth, negative traumatic birth mindset, is not fact. And then the next question that I have for you is, are you willing to see differently? Because if you're not, if you are just one of these people that say, birth is traumatic, I do not want to look at any other types of birth. Birth is birth, I mean, yeah, I do not agree that you can have a positive birth experience. I do not agree that you can feel comfortable in birth. I do not agree that you can feel empowered and that you can enjoy the experience. I do not agree with that. That's fine. This podcast isn't for you, although you might as well listen to it because you're here anyway. But are you willing to see things differently? Are you willing to experience a different side of birth, to view birth in a different way? And what you've got to do is, there is actually a lot of work that you have to do to unknit these birth beliefs. And the first one is to kind of establish, where did that belief come from? Is it that you have attended a birth that looked horrendous and traumatic? Is it something that you've just grown up and that was in your belief that you'd learn at school, or from friends, parents having babies, or your own parents pushing their mindset and their beliefs about birth onto you, or even older siblings who have had babies? Or could it be that what you've seen in the news or on TV programs? There's a very well-known, in the UK here, a very well-known birth documentary, and actually I think it's in Australia and America as well, and it's think about a baby being born within a certain time space, if you get what it's called. I don't want to give it the limelight. But what we have to understand about those birth documentaries, that if they were all pretty calm births and the mothers felt empowered and they were like, this was brilliant, it wasn't a walk in the park by all means, by any means, but it was a really nice experience, we'd probably be like, okay, where's the drama? Come on, we like things, like these A&E programs where there's all hustle and bustle and rushing around. And actually, on some of those programs that I've just mentioned, they do have some pretty lovely birth experiences. Some of the mums come in and within like an hour, she's had her baby and she's in the pool, or she's having this really wonderful C-section that, saved her. Her baby was like severely traumatized or something, and she actually had a really lovely experience. They are there, but they're very, very few and far between. The whole picture which is painted in this documentary is that birth is just like sirens going off, emergency buttons being pushed, and it's traumatic. So that is going to imprint onto your mind, because if I said to you enough times, every kind of every day, or on it's particularly if you're pregnant, you're going to hear birth stories and hear people's mindsets and thought processes about birth. If I told you every single day that the sky outside was yellow or lime green every day, and I was telling you day after day after day, after about 30 days you would probably look at the sky and go, is it lime green? Because that's what I'm being told, and that is what's been imprinted into my brain. And that's how we get into these birth views and beliefs about birth, because we're told it from a very young age. So we've got years and years and years and years of those thoughts and those beliefs being plumbed into our brains, and our brains absorb it. They're massive sponges, so they're going, okay, this is truth, this is truth, this is fact, this is fact. So for you to start unknitting those birthing beliefs, and it's about anything about birth, you could actually be quite positive about birth, but there could be one specific element of birth that you're scared of. Like, I've had clients that are terrified of being sick in birth, others terrified of having an epidural, but actually they have had a breech baby, they don't want to give vaginally breech, babies still breech at like way past that kind of cut-off period which they gave themselves, so they're going in for a C-section, but they're still terrified about having this epidural. And it's all coming down to that, is my belief about that particular thing fact? And then willing to see things differently. So accepting and finding out where your belief is, and then willing to see things differently. Am I invested in myself and my pregnancy and my baby and this birth to actually willingly, positively see things different? And that's the hard work, because it's homework that you're going to have to do. And there are so many things that you can do. The first one is where we've established where the root of your concern is to kind of cut that out of your life. And I'm not saying cut your family out if they're ones that are negative Nellies, mood hoovers about birth, or about having a positive birth experience. Actually, I'll tell you a little story. It's one of my clients, and she's more than happy for me to share this. I know she is. She's told me that I can. But anyway, her dad and stepmom had said to her, as soon as she found out she was pregnant, you have to speak to someone about having a C-section. We are worried about you because you don't cope very well with pain or trauma or blood. So they're painting this picture that there's blood while she's giving birth, and obviously you bleed when you're having your baby, but not to the extent that people think. Again, it depends on the situation, but they're imprinting this into her mind when she's literally just told them she's just peed on the stick, and she's like, I'm pregnant. And they absolutely terrified her, and she was like, I cannot have a conversation with them anymore about birth, because every time that I go and see them or speak with them on the phone, instantly they bring up, have you booked in your C-section yet? As if you can just book in a C-section, as if like a low risk mum can go, oh, by the way, I'm having a C-section on the NHS. So she was like, I just want to cut them out of my life until the rest of the pregnancy. So, it's finding ways which you can protect your energy around people like that, and just not bringing it up, just asking them to respect your wishes and saying, look, I am planning to have a positive birth. Your beliefs around birth are really negative, and they are, excuse me, they are not working in alignment with my energy right now. I'm all about energy. I love talking about positive energy, particularly when it comes to birth and pregnancy and motherhood. And just seeing how how that went, and it actually went really well for her. She was like, they don't talk about it anymore. What we talk about now is what nappies I'm going to use, and my form of feeding, and how they can support me postpartum. So she almost gave them a boundary. She put her boundary up, and she almost gave them something else to talk about, and gave them like a role to really focus on, and that worked really well. And actually, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to do another podcast on conserving your energy around a positive birth experience as well, because it's really good to have the tools to know when you can, what boundaries you can use and how to use them, because I think that's so important. So now you're willing to see things differently. So that's not my child dying. I can just hear him downstairs. He's probably doing some karate moves or something, I don't know. He is alive, he's fine, he is supervised as well. Where can you start? So what I would suggest you start doing is being fully endorsed in this, fully absorbed in it, should I say, to see things differently. And the first thing you can do is start looking at positive birth videos. Now, if you find that you have struggled to watch any birth videos, or even the thought of giving birth makes you wince, then if you, again, I had a client, she comes straight to mind. She's really terrified of watching positive birth videos. And what we discussed is that she would do it on a day where she knew that she didn't have any work. And that was her relaxation day. And what they did, her and her hubby, is set the room up like really calm and beautifully. They'd planned to go for a nice walk afterwards. They had a lovely brunch before. And then they put the positive birth video on that I sent them over, and there are loads that you can watch actually. In fact, what I'll do underneath this video, once I've uploaded it in the notes, is I will put some links to some positive birth videos for you guys to watch. And they're not what you think. They are not like camera at vagina, watching the baby crown. They're not that type of video. They're really calm and just beautiful birth videos, so you can go and have a watch. So I highly suggest that if you are willing to see differently, to view birth differently, then that's a really good starting point. And actually, it might be like one of the end points. You might decide to do that practice last, and try the other ones first. And then the next one is to read some positive birth stories. Positive birth testimonials. If you haven't gone onto my website, you can go on my website and look at births. There's about 4 or 5 of that. I need to upload it. I need to upload load more, which is my plan this first quarter of this year, is to do that, because I've got so many beautiful birth stories that you guys need to read. They're amazing, and I'm in awe. I want to read them. In fact, one came in last week, and I was just an emotional wreck, and I'm definitely not having any more babies. But yeah, reading some positive birth stories are really good. They can help. And also, listening, if you have any friends that have had positive births, that they were over the moon, or if they've done hypnobirthing and they've had a really lovely birth experience, is to go for a walk and have a chat with them and have a coffee with them, because that's really important, that you're surrounded and you're reprogramming your mind and your brain into thinking that is the norm for birth. And also, taking a positive birth preparation course, whether that be you reaching out to me and doing something with me or someone else, that can really help. And I think when you're looking at your antenatal prep, if you're willing to invest and do an antenatal course, is to have a really good look and search for one that feels in alignment with you and what you want to get out of it as well. So you can have a look and see if there's any positive birth preparation courses near you. Hiring a doula is a really good one as well. So doulas, most of them are trained in hypnobirthing, so all about being a positive mindset of birth. But even just chatting with a doula and interviewing a few of them to seeing what their perspectives of birth is, and if they are in alignment with what you want to get out of your birth. And then you could also join the positive birth movement groups. They're run by, they were founded by Millie Hill. She is the writer of the Positive Birth book, which is a great book to read. Very informative, factual information. But she set up these groups, and they're hosted by volunteers all around the country that you can go and attend. And you often have birth professionals there. Oh, my laptop's just decided to die. No, it's still there. Hi. They often have birth professionals there. You might get a doula, hypnobirthing practitioner, pregnancy yoga, pregnancy nutritionist, midwife, and that you can go and just chat. It's not necessarily, they don't necessarily always have an agenda. You can just go and sit and observe and listen, because if you're trying to change your birth beliefs, you're probably a little bit reserved at the moment. So just sitting in on one of those meetings, and just, email them before and say, look, I don't want to participate. I just want to come and observe and listen. You're already taking that step into wanting to see birth differently. And also, you're just going to absorb this information, even if you're just sitting back from it. And just observing those positive energy and mindset and stories. And they're such good starting points for you to change your birth mindset. But the other thing you can do as well is start thinking of some positive birth affirmations. I've actually got a free wallpaper, like a screensaver, that you can download on your phone on the website as well, under free resources. So that could really, really help. But you could also make your own affirmations up as: I see birth as positive. I see birth as safe. I birth my baby with ease. I feel empowered around the birth of my baby. Those are just some of the things that you could say, or even write down, or pop it in your journal, or on your diary, or on your work laptop, or on your desk at work, or on the bathroom mirror. And you can just have these that you are just checking in with all the time. If you have considered doing a course, I talk a lot about affirmations, and actually I am going to do an affirmation podcast as well, and actually do some free affirmation, like a meditation for you guys, which I think will be really lovely. So look out for those in the future episodes. But unknitting your birth beliefs is so important if you're willing to see birth different. So I'd like to leave you the question: are you willing to see different? And what steps are you going to take from this, listening to this podcast today? How are you going to view birth differently? What steps are you going to take? Let me know if you have any questions. You can always reach out to me. I'm on Instagram at The Bloom Experience, with 2 M's in Bloom, so it sounds like Bloom Me. And I'll put all my links below the vlog here, and this will be going on Instagram and possibly YouTube, and also onto the podcast as well. It's been so nice to chat your hind legs off. I just love it. Everything about birth and motherhood. So yes, that's me done for the day. Have a lovely day, whatever you're doing, and good luck with unknitting your birthing beliefs. Lots of love.